Welcome back to Serhan's Garage channel, and today I'm going to change oil on my Porsche Cayenne Turbo.
It's a good idea to change your oil while it's warm, so I'm just going to take it for a quick drive around the block and I'll be right back.
Of course, it wouldn't be a video without Fluffy the cat coming to visit. Hey, hey buddy. Anyways, okay, so back to the video. So I'm going to be changing the oil on my 2011 Porsche Cayenne Turbo. So let's get right to it. So the first thing we need to do is remove these 10mm bolts that hold up this plastic cover. Here's the top side of the underbody, and you can see there's an oil leak. So I'm gonna take a closer look. Can definitely see some oil around here. Here's the oil filter, so I feel like it's coming right from the oil filter. That probably just got loose over time. The drain plug is an 8mm. So as I mentioned, there was an oil leak. Upon further inspection, I can confirm that it's coming from the oil filter. My last oil change was done at the dealership. I normally change my oil, but I took it to the dealership because I got the oil change in January, where it was like freezing cold, so I didn't want to change the oil myself. This is why I prefer to change the oil myself. It's either they tighten it too much or too little, and this shouldn't be leaking like that. So taking a look at the top of the engine, I haven't detected any leak up here. Head gaskets look good, no leaks there, no leaks from the intake manifold. So everything on the engine looks really good. The only thing that I've noticed underneath the plenum, there's this breather hose right here. It's got a fair bit of oil on it for some reason. Now this breather hose, one of it connects to the plenum and the other one goes into intake manifold. If you overfill your engine, it's very likely you're gonna end up with oil in your plenum as well as your throttle body. But I'm not sure why I'm seeing oil, so much oil on this piece here. Now this piece, it's made out of plastic, and over time from the heat of the engine, this becomes brittle and it breaks apart really easily. So my next project will probably be remove this plenum and open up the throttle body, clean everything out, and maybe possibly see why this is leaking and replace this part. This part alone, this plastic piece with the hoses, is $200. And when you go to remove them, they tend to break off. I'm not too concerned. I'm just gonna make a note for it for myself on this video, and I'll keep my eye on this. Okay, so while the oil is draining, I wanna point out a couple of things. So here is the oil drain plug, and that is an 8mm, as you can see. That's an 8mm. You want to inspect this. This crush washer typically is replaced at every oil change. So I'm going to replace this one with a new one. And just looking at the plug, still looks pretty good. It's a little rounded out. So I'm just going to make a mental note and I'll replace this for the next oil change. And in order to remove the oil filter canister, you're gonna need a special socket this size, and this is a 36mm. The oil filter canister is located right here. You're gonna need a big socket. It's a 36mm. So there's the oil filter canister. So there's the oil filter canister. You want to inspect this ring. Usually when you buy an oil filter, it will come with a new O-ring, but we'll clean this up before we put it back on. Like now I can go ahead and just remove the actual filter. There we go. I usually like to inspect the filter just to see if I see anything unusual, and you really want to inspect it from the inside out if you can. But this one looks fairly clean. I don't see any metal particles or anything unusual. So while the vehicle is draining oil, I like to clean everything up and apply some fluid film. So just to clean up the oil, I just use brake cleaner. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply some fluid film. For those of you that don't know much about fluid film, it's an excellent rust and corrosion protection inhibitor. So basically it's a natural oil that you spray to all of the undercarriage, particularly steel. You want to get this in the frames, all the nooks and crannies, and it's going to basically prevent any rust forming underneath your vehicle. Now on the Porsche Cayenne, there really isn't a whole lot of rust because a lot of the materials that they use, like aluminum and magnesium, does not rust, but some of the frame is made out of steel and it does rust. You can see right here, paint is coming off. You can also see a little bit of rust right here. So what I like to do, I like to get the fluid film. This one comes in black, so it blends in really nice with the undercarriage. And just blast it. Get in the holes, get in the frame. This stuff will stick to the metal for months at a time. And this is what it looks like with a coat of fluid film. It leaves a really nice black glossy finish. It will literally stay on the steel for months at a time. So it's excellent for preventing rust. Here's the oil canister all cleaned up. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the old ring. And we're gonna replace this with a brand new one that comes with your new filter. Okay, and there's the new ring. The new ring is installed on the oil filter housing, and it's a good idea just to rub a little bit of oil on that new ring. We're going to torque this down to 19 foot-pounds. Be careful, you don't want to over tighten this because this is made out of plastic. The new filter can go back in the housing. So we're going to torque it down to 20 foot-pounds. Well, I've let it drain for a good 15 minutes, but it's still dripping a little bit of oil. So I'm just gonna take a break and maybe come back in half an hour. Okay, it's been a good half hour. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my plug back on, and we're gonna torque this down to 20 foot-pounds. I'm ready to add my oil. I'm going with Mobil 1 0W40. Now this engine takes a lot of oil, as much as 9 quarts. So basically 2 full jugs. So like I said, this takes 9 quarts. This jug of Mobile 1 is 5 quarts. And I've emptied most of this one. I have little less than 2 quarts. So I'm going to top it up a little bit more until I get down to 1 quart remaining. Okay, and that should do it. Not sure if you can read that, but I've got just more than 1 quart left in this jug. So I've got just under 9 quarts in the engine. Take it for a spin, and then we'll gauge if we need how much more we need to top it off. I have 9 quarts of fresh oil in the engine, so there's one last thing to do now. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is record the date and the mileage, and this is for my own purposes. So I have 184,739 kilometers, and today's date is Friday, October 11th, 2024. So this is just for me. Okay, while we're at it, let's just do a cold start on the C8. Guys, look who's sitting on top of the Hellcat. Fluffy. For those that watch my videos on a regular basis, you know I've mentioned Fluffy, the neighborhood cat, sitting right on top of the Hellcat right now. And this is what he likes to do. While I'm shooting videos, he likes to come out and just sit on top of all my cars. What a cutie. Hey buddy. Buddy. So cute. And that's how you change the oil on a Cayenne Turbo. So thanks for watching, guys. Catch you on the next one.